Hi everyone. Today I've got some new cards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same because I want to use my new cards. I want to do 3 readings using the same cards. And what I'm going to do is a more general reading. So there's not going to be any specific placements, and it's going to be on what is the feel of your relationship, what's the vibe of your relationship, or what sort of aura do you two have together as a couple. So if somebody was looking at you two together, what would they pick up? How does it feel for you and them as a combined whole? I have got some little bits I chopped up this morning of quotes. These quotes are from the Bronte sisters' books, which I had on my phone anyway because I'm a bit of a geek like that. And I have chopped them up, and I'm going to pick out 1 or 2, possibly just 1 actually, for each pile. I'm going to warn you before I start that because the cards are quite dark, the cards are fantastic, but they're quite dark, and the quotes aren't, because the Bronte sisters are quite dark and passionate anyway. So I'm just warning you before you start not to take it too seriously in the fact that they might be a little bit harsh, but just interpret it to the best way you possibly can, as you generally know what sort of thing you're going to pick out, if you know what I mean. What I'll do is I'll pick a quote for each one. So just move the cards aside. So this is going to be more of a general feel. It's more of a wishy-washy sort of reading. Not in the fact it's going to be wishy-washy, but in the fact it's going to be a bit more free-flowing. Nicer than wishy-washy. Okay, so that's for number 1. That's for number 2. And that's number 3. And we can always pick another one later on if you want. So I'm going to leave those over there. So if you want to choose 1, 2 or 3, take your time, have a little look. And we'll start. Okay, pile number 1 first. Put you over there. Put you over there. Pile number 1. I'm just going to draw 6 cards. These cards are unusual because they have 8 characters, I suppose. They're very character based. So, and these characters don't actually, you can't interpret them with the normal tarot cards. So what I'm going to do, if I get one of those, I've got other cards, I'll either pick another one out, or just put it aside, or just interpret it how I see the card and add it to it. You can actually buy a guidebook with it, but the cards were something like 50 quid, and the thought of spending another, I don't know, something like 14 quid in a guidebook was a little bit too much. So you're just going to get my intuition about those if they pop up. The cards are beautiful, really, really nice. They're called Carnival at the End of the World by 2 artists whose name I forget. Let me have a look. What's that? I don't think those are the artists. I'll find out for you. I'll put it in the comments and bits at the end. What was I saying then? I can't remember. Oh, basically, I'm going to take out, if I get one of the character-based cards that aren't part of the normal tarot, I'll interpret it the best way I possibly can. So let's just get going anyway. Okay, so your relationship as a feeling, basically as an aura, as it comes across, a less tenable feel about it. It's more of just something that other people pick up when they see you. See, these are really, this is why I'm doing it and not as specific placements, because it takes me quite a while to interpret the cards, but I still want to use them anyway. So that's 3 of Cups, okay. 7 of Swords, the Sun. Who is that? Let's put him over there. What a fantastic card. I don't know if you can see that. I have no idea what it means. Does that if you've ever seen the film and What They See in the Shadows, what does that remind you of it? Oh, another one. I'm going to leave this in one because this card in because I love this card and it goes very much with the Sun card. And I got this last night when I was playing with them, and I interpreted this card as something very specific, which fits in so much with your Major Arcana card here. So I'm going to leave that one there. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Right, just give me a moment. I've got to look at these because they take me longer to interpret. So if you just give me a minute. And I play around with them and take them into my head a little bit. Your quote is "You changeling, fairy born and human bred." So I think that's off Jane Eyre. And what it basically means is that as if the other person sees you as not of this world, as if you are something that little bit special, not quite human, but if you've got that little bit something extra that makes you super, super attractive. It's almost like a surreal feel to it, which fits in very well with the reading. It's almost like they can't quite get their hands on you, that you're not quite there, and that you change your persona from situation to situation, which I would get fits in with these cards here. Now, the first two cards I've got, which this is the one of those cards that are quite unusual, not as unusual as that one, but this two got the Sun and the Inferno. Last night when I got this card, to me it made me think of Forest Fire by Lord Corn the Commotions, which is like a very sort of, it's like a metaphor for a, I think that's actually where the song, a metaphor for a burning love. And with the Sun here, it's almost as if when people are looking at you two, it's almost as if there's a passion there, and there's a brightness and an honesty and an openness that is quite probably imposing to other people. I get the feeling from this as if two people like each other, but there's almost that you've got to keep it under wraps. And if other people see this situation, they can sense it, they can feel it, and it can be quite an uncomfortable feeling for other people, especially if the relationship is not meant to be, if you've got to hide it in some way. But they feel there's like a really, really strong magnetic attraction between the pair of you. And you can't hide it. When you're with people, you're both probably quite open, probably quite fiery, and you're both probably quite open and don't really know how to hide your feelings. Now this is combined also with the Temperance, which is a card of balance. So you might not know how to hide your feelings, but you almost feel as if you should be more diplomatic. And that might be why you're the changeling, as if you're almost having to shift from situation to situation. So if you're on your own, you're probably very different with each other than you are in a public setting. If it doesn't resonate with you, that the fact that you aren't hiding a relationship, what it would be a very open, very honest and a very passionate relationship that is, in other ways, it can be very balanced as well. So there's a lot of give and take. It's quite a mature relationship, but it's not somewhere where you hide your feelings from each other. And the reason as well why I said that it could possibly, that made me think that these two cards are passionate, open and almost out of control, and this card here is suggesting that you change from situation to situation, and the Temperance card as well is almost like a card of balance, so they don't fit together. And also we've got like the Three of Cups here, which makes me think that, well, as we're looking at your relationship, how people see you, or the general vibe of it that you get as well. There's a lot of people around you here. It's like the Three of Cups is like the three women dancing. It's like a celebration. It's almost as if you are often seen out together in social situations, or if you're hiding it, it could be that there are three people involved in the situation. It could be either. Now this card here also makes me feel, I don't want to put a dampener on this because this might not be true, but this card here also makes me feel like it's the Seven of Swords. It's almost as if something slightly underhand is going on. So which also makes me feel that there's a huge connection or a huge passion that is not really allowed to be seen by others, and it's almost they sense you too trying to suppress this. The actual communication between you two is probably extremely good. You probably are quite open with each other. You probably express your feelings, and as I said earlier, you don't try and hide it. I have no idea what to say about that. Oh dear. This is like, it reminds me of the film, what we do in the shadows? But it also reminds me of Cinderella. So I have no idea how to interpret that, and I think I'm not even going to bother trying, but what a fantastic card. It's almost, if it was Cinderella, it would be the prince presenting the slipper to Cinderella, seeing if it fits. So to interpret that in the cards, I would probably say that this person who you are with, and how other people see it and how you view it, is really trying extremely hard to get your attention. It's almost as if they've been looking for this certain person and they feel that they've found it. But what is happening is that if they're offering themselves to you, but if you're having to hide your situation in front of people, it's going to be very, very confusing. That also as well, that you are changing your persona to fit in with each. You could be a Gemini. You could be somebody who naturally changes who they are depending on the situation or depending how they've woke up. It could be Pisces as well. This is Sagittarius. This is Leo. But I'm also getting a mutable feeling from this, as almost that you do have to, or you naturally change your persona, your emotions to fit in with that certain situation, regardless of whether you have to because your situation is hidden with this Deceit card here, or whether it's just naturally the way that you are, that you do change. But this person can't quite get a grasp on you. But he almost feels as if you're like from another world, as if he has been waiting with this inferno, there's like passion, and he or she has been waiting for this certain somebody, and you fit into this. But there's almost this like sort of control as well with it, where you can't express how you feel. With people around watching. So to sum that up, your communication's good though. You're open with each other even if the situation has had some sort of, I've got a feeling you're open with each other, but you may not have been open with everybody else around you. This person, I feel, is not hiding their feelings from you at all. You are basically hiding what you feel for each other to everybody else. It would be really interesting if you're at all interested in astrology. I'm going to do some astrology, but I haven't quite got that started yet. I would suggest looking at your composite chart together to see what is actually shown, and how that would show you how you appear to everybody else as well. Stop touching the cards because they're new. To sum that up, your relationship vibe is mutable. It is forever changing. It is open. It is expansive. But in front of other people, you might come across very different each time they see you. But they can probably sense that you have a really strong, passionate bond that you are hiding from each other. Hiding from somebody else. And they will probably also sense that the other person feels really strongly about you, and that you get on well, and that you communicate well. There's always, I don't know if you're very sociable, but there seems to be a lot of people around you a lot of the time, whether it's you choosing to be or it's just the way the situation is. There is also, they would pick up that if you are keeping things quiet, it's because you're hiding something. Not you're hiding something with each other because you are very open with each other. There's no lack of love or no lack of expressing love. I would say that you are hiding something from everybody else. Okay. I hope that helps. You're really lucky that your Bronte sister wasn't really morose. You quote, I mean, so there you go. I hope that helps. If you like it, could you like it and subscribe if you want some more, please. Sorry, I forgot my manners. Right. Oh my God, what was pile number 2? I think this was pile number 2. If not, I will change it. I'm not sure if I just shoved them to the side. Okay, I never normally I'm going with this pile number 2. If not, I will turn it to pile number 3 in the timestamps. Okay, pile number 3. What is the vibe of your relationship? What do people pick up below the surface when you two are together? Or what do they, well, even if you're not together, what do you pick up that's going on underneath the surface? As I've said before, the quote might be quite dark because it's a Bronte sister quote, I don't know. And the cards here, I will take my time to interpret them because they're difficult because they're new and they're not straightforward cards, but they're really, really interesting and lovely. So let's go. Your quote is, "The waters came into my soul, I sank in a deep mire, and I felt, oh my God, I need some glasses. I felt no standing. I came into deep waters, the floods overflowed me." So to me, this gives a feeling of somebody who has basically fallen for somebody else and is drowning in it because it has taken their feet from underneath them, not in a negative sense as in they can't cope with it, but in a sense that it has really taken them off balance. So this person, though the relationship is quite passionate, but I've got a feeling the feelings are extremely passionate, but I've got a feeling that you're not actually together. So somebody in the relationship, or this is how people will see the relationship or how you view it, is a very passionate relationship, but that I get a feeling that you are separated or you've only just met. The reason why I think this is that because this swords card here is a card of like moving away. It's like moving away from one situation to another, or distance. And with the Page of Cups here as well, it's almost like it's not a really, really strong card as in what the feelings are. It's almost like the beginning of feelings. It's like the flirtation, the recognizing that there are feelings there, but there's also a distance with it. And these two cards here are both almost like decisions. They're like throwing things up in the air and deciding what you want. It's not something concrete to me. It doesn't read like that. But what has happened is that the feelings have basically almost like a tower card. They are all up in the air, but almost as if you're overwhelmed by it. So somebody possibly in this relationship if somebody were watching this relationship and they knew what was going on, they would probably know that you two were attracted to each other. They could probably see or feel that there was a flirtation and the beginning of love, but they would also see as well that there's distance there at the moment, and you two as a couple are deciding what to do next. At the moment it's based on, so this is like the Seven of Cups, at the moment it's based on a new beginning, a new start of feelings. There's like openness. It's almost childlike. It's flirting really, but it's almost based on wants and wishes and desires at the moment. It hasn't really started, in my eyes, to begin, possibly. And I don't know whether you are actually together as a couple or whether it's just somebody that you have your eye on or they have an eye on you. But if people were looking at this from the outside view, what they would see is two people that aren't together but with a really, really strong attraction. And probably if you are flirting or if you have had time together, it would be very obvious to other people. It would be playful, it would be fun, but there would be no hiding the fact there was attraction there. But I'm probably on both sides. It has almost seeped into both of you, and if you have pulled apart, it's still on both of your minds that there's that attraction and that need to get back together again. It's almost as if you're both standing and waiting and watching and playing around with ideas and thoughts, and from a point of separation. You've started something off, it was nice, it was pleasant, and what's happened is it's just rolled away into really, really strong feelings, but that aren't grounded on enough experience yet. So to sum up your reading, pile number 2, I would say the aura or the vibe of your relationship is one of a beginning of passion and thoughts and fantasies, where there has initially started as a flirt or just a general pull or a feeling of attraction, and both of you now are wondering what the next step is, and you've both possibly had to pull away from the situation. I don't think there's anything's happened in the situation. You're probably just separate anyway. It's probably just the general flow of the situation or life at the moment. So that's what I get of that. So nobody knows. Yours is just basically a new beginning. To me, it feels like a new beginning that hasn't quite started to roll yet. And I'm not saying I can see any more than that, because it just is a general feel at the moment. So I don't know. I can do perhaps other spreads in the future for how it's going to develop, but that's what's happening at the moment. It's thoughts, it's wants, it's desires, it's wishes, it's what's going to happen next. It's excitement. It's you're not together. You want to know what's going on next because you can feel the passion. You can feel that new beginning. Okay, pile number 2. Hope that makes sense to you. If you like it, can you press the like if it makes sense to you? And if you want another reading, press the subscribe. Thank you very much. I'm hoping pile number 3, if you were second and the pink ball just jumped in on you, I'm really sorry. I can't remember which order I put them back, but I'll put them down in order or back to front. It'll make sense in the comment section is what I'm going to say. I'll put the timestamps in. Okay, so this is your relationship, how people pick it up, how you two pick it up. It's almost like an undercurrent. It's what's going on in your relationship and how people feel it rather than what is, what they pick up. So I've got these new cards here which take me a time to read, so just bear with me while I take a look at them. And if I get one of those odd character cards that aren't meant to be in here, I'll just put it aside and have a go with that later. So, your vibe in your relationship. Your quote is, "You strange, almost an earthly thing." general feel that I'm picking up from this at the moment is a general feeling of two men in a relationship. Either that is that two men are in a relationship together, or there's two men and somebody else in a relationship. And what has happened is if it's almost as if you've jumped into this, whether mentally or physically, into this relationship, and it's like a new start, a new beginning. And what it's actually causing at the moment, for some reason, is a feeling of defensiveness and a feeling of anxiety. As if there's some sort of attraction that feels as if it's like karmic, as if it is an earthly thing, as if it's meant to be. That you, as a couple, haven't been you're just not really able to control your thoughts more than your feelings. And there's not many cup cards here, so at the moment I wouldn't really say there were really, really strong feelings. At the moment, the feelings are thoughts and feelings, I suppose, of anxiety, of almost a fear, of trying to weigh up what to do next, how to communicate, what next move to, what to say. But there's also, as well, as if you're being met with a feeling of defensiveness too. And there are two male figures here in this reading. So there's the King of Wands, and that's not somebody, and it's a mature character, male or female, who is normally quite fiery, quite open, quite fun-loving, but could be quite aggressive as well, quite assertive. Normally somebody who puts themselves into positions in life which are adventurous and where they've got a lot of responsibility. And the King of Cups card here is somebody who's very sort of controlled and organised with their emotions, very loving, probably a very good father figure or mother figure, depending who you're looking at. So this one is quite a difficult one to sum up. It's an unusual pile because the Fool card here is like the card of Uranus. It's almost like unexpected things, unexpected situations. It's like when you're on the cliff about to fall off, but you can't really help yourself. It's not like the Tower card where it's already happened. You know that something might happen, but you can't help yourself. And this is causing you mental anxiety and a little bit of turmoil where you don't know which way to go. Now, I'm looking at this now to answer the whole meaning of the reading was meant to be, how do people see you, or how do you feel the relationship? So I would say complicated. This relationship is not straightforward. This relationship possibly has more than one or two main characters in it. There's normally three, I reckon. I'm not getting it's difficult to say because you haven't got the normal like three people in a relationship, but there are two men in this relationship. It could be that if you are having this reading, you are thinking of leaving somebody else. You're thinking of starting something fresh with somebody else, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was the more outgoing character. So you might have somebody already who you're in a relationship with that could possibly be the loving and open, warm, or somebody you're just established with, and you are contemplating going somewhere else with this other person. I don't mean physically somewhere else, but somewhere else in a relationship. And because of this situation, the relationship would be perceived as by other people. And if this is the case, I would probably think that not many people know about this relationship. And if they do, they probably wouldn't guess. Because there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anxiety. The communication might be there, but it might be also slightly hidden because there's a lot of defensiveness as well. And this to me strikes me, you strange unearthly thing, as a situation you did not sorry, you couldn't see the cars, anyway, as being a new opportunity that you're not sure whether you want to take, because there might be a possibility of hurting somebody else, and somebody in this relationship is being defensive because they can sense this. Let me just put, because this is quite an unusual reading, I'm just going to put, the third reading is always unusual. Yeah, this almost this is like you strange unearthly thing. It's almost as if this situation is almost a little bit surreal at the moment, and what you are on the precipice of making a big change, and this is probably involved with. I've actually stopped thinking about how people perceive the relationship, because it's just between you two, I reckon. And in your mind, you are thinking, or they are thinking, of making a complete change, and this is causing you to dig deep inside yourself to find the strength to do it. Yeah, I've got a feeling with this you're about to make a huge change, and you're having to dig your strength inside yourself, and it could be a situation where you are either leaving somebody or thinking of leaving somebody because one of you finds the other person attractive. And I'm thinking, if you're female, then you might be leaving another male, and you might possibly in a family relationship already with this person. You might have a family. Right, it's really interesting. I'd like to know more about this. I'm not going to go any further into this because I don't think there's any much more I can get out of it. But I'll, because this, I mean, it's going to go that way because you can make the decision towards, a big decision, and as if you're leaving somebody that you already have, whether it's family, could be leaving. If you're quite young, it could just be leaving your family. To go and live with this other person, or could be that you're already in a relationship with somebody else, and it could be another man. And at the moment, your thoughts at the moment are you want to communicate, but it's almost as if you want to open the communication with other people as well. Probably it's just the relationship, but it's almost it's like you're stuck in an anxious thoughts that you don't know whether to go backwards or forwards. It's like fear and anxiety weighing up all the time. And there's also this card here is like, get out of the way, being quite defensive. Somebody in a relationship is being defensive, or basically guarding themselves. Right, I'm going to leave that there. So your vibe of your relationship is definitely complicated. People won't be picking it up, but you two definitely are. And it's like it's on the edge of a change. And you've got to think really carefully where you want to go. What's going to be the best for you in the long run. Okay, well, I hope this helps. If it does, please could you like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next reading, which is probably a day or two. Thank you for watching. Bye.